Now, viewers, do you watch content on Netflix and other OTT platforms or YouTube for that matter? I'm sure many of you do. The Supreme Court has now come up with a suggestion which, if implemented, could change the way that you consume content online. There are several suggestions that the Supreme Court has come up with, which include age verification using Aadhaar that could be implemented for accessing online content that may be deemed obscene. The court has emphasized the need for displaying a warning stating that such content may not be suitable for general audiences. They've also talked about a possible regulator as far as this particular sector is concerned. Let's first take you through what CJI Surya said in court today. They've said that there can be a warning that can be for a few seconds, and then perhaps the Aadhaar card is Aadhaar numbers asked for. With Aadhaar, age can be verified. These are just illustrative suggestions, is what the court has said. It's not a final decision by any stretch of imagination, but they've said that let something come up in a pilot basis. If it clogs free speech, it can be looked at. This is what has been stated by the court. However, while the court has emphasized on the need to build a responsible society, this suggestion has sparked a debate on whether the idea is feasible or not. There are concerns with regards to privacy and profiling, which could be raised. Let's take a look at why this idea could potentially be problematic. Privacy issues including concern over persons viewing history data. Who's going to be the custodian of it, and what will be the possibility of misuse of such data if this does indeed come about and if it is implemented? What about profiling fears? There are apprehensions that this could lead to profiling of individuals if there is a bank of such data. What about the practicality? What if there are underage children, for instance, minors who use an adult's Aadhaar to access content, and what if an adult's Aadhaar is used but kids also watching it? Will there be a restriction in terms of freedom of what one wants to watch is another question that arises. While this isn't the first time when concerns are being raised with regard to personal details, just about a week ago there were reports saying that one of the social media apps or food delivery apps, Zomato, is preparing to share customer data with restaurants. According to these reports, the company was preparing to share basic customer details, mainly phone numbers. However, Zomato said that the consent of customers will be taken before details are shared. However, there are still concerns regarding misuse of personal data, increased scam as well as secondary marketing outreach. And the question we are asking is this: that is the suggestion given by the top court pragmatic or problematic? Let's quickly take this across to our guest. Joining us with us is Uday Mahurkar, founder of Save Culture, Save Bharat Foundation, and he's also a former Central RTI Commissioner who has in fact filed a petition in Supreme Court seeking directions to the government of India to stop perverted content and has described this in the past as one of the biggest threats to the nation's culture. We have Avishkar Singhvi, advocate of the Supreme Court. Karuna Nandi, senior advocate of the Supreme Court, is with us. But my first question is to Namit Saxena, advocate on record in the Supreme Court. Namit, now the Supreme Court has not said that this is a final order. These are illustrative suggestions that they have described. They've also talked about a body that could perhaps look into regulating such content. How do you view these suggestions that are coming in from the bench at the moment?
These are only suggestions at the moment, as you rightly pointed out. But I think this suggestion of using Aadhaar as a mode, as a precursor to whether a viewer can actually view that content or not is, I don't think it is very pragmatic at this stage. Coming from the bench, such a suggestion should not have ideally come. See, because to give your Aadhaar, again, data, privacy issues, they can be data breaches, etc. And just to view something, a content, it may be vulgar, it may not be vulgar, it may be obscene, may not be obscene, we don't know yet. But to view it, you have to, share your Aadhaar card with someone is, very problematic in my view. They should not have come from the bench at all. Other suggestions there are, which they have made, they can be, they can be trial and error, they can be experimented with. But Aadhaar, particularly, I don't agree with, and I think that is deeply problematic.
Okay. Okay, Avishkar Singhvi, what's your view on this sharing of the Aadhaar number? Now, in itself, is this going to be a foolproof measure? Because somebody, a parent, for instance, puts in their Aadhaar number, starts watching TV, gets a call, walks out of the room, and the minor has access to that screen, which, a parent has walked to. There are several practical aspects of this which perhaps will need more application of mind. At the moment, you have Namit Saxena who says that this is not a very pragmatic solution. Your view on this, Avishkar?
Thanks, Madhav. Thanks for having me on your show. Firstly, I'd like to commend the Honorable Chief Justice to actually take this issue up because it's very important to protect the vulnerable classes in our country from obscene content and from all kinds of content that is being shown on OTT platform without any regulation, unlike the Cable Television Networks Act, which regulates the television content, etc. So this is a welcome step. I think the CJI has not directed or said that one mode or one possible Aadhaar mechanism would be used. He is just brainstorming and mulling over different ideas, and that's very clear because I think he's also left it open to a panel of experts, including a judge and other stakeholders. So the Aadhaar, I think, as rightly pointed out by Namit, would be problematic for several reasons because it can be misused. The Supreme Court itself has held in several judgments that Aadhaar is not proof of birth. An Aadhaar card can be used by other people, a different Aadhaar can be used. So and that will be an unnecessary fetter. So I don't think that Aadhaar is the only way out, but there can be several other ways. So for me, there will be two different mechanisms and two different controls. One will be at the OTT platform level, which has to be a content regulation at that level, and you have to create different profiles. And one is at the level of the viewer. So I think with a careful collaboration or calibration of both these controls at each level, we can, I think, achieve the necessary objective.
Content regulation at the level of the OTT itself. Karuna Nandi, thus far there's been no regulation. There are those such as Mr. Mahurkar sitting here who have been advocating regulation of the content. We have Mr. Singhvi here who also says that that is perhaps the way forward. Do you think that that is a pragmatic and a practical way forward? Karuna Nandi.
So what's the case before the court today, and why is the court concerned? The court is concerned because there is obscene content on the internet, right? Now, there is a lot in the world that is not appropriate for children. And do we shut down the speech, or do we shut down the content? Or do we make sure that our children are parented, frankly, Do we make sure that there are, that one is keeping an eye on what one's children are watching? That I really think is the solution to this sort of thing. If we want to make sure that children don't watch inappropriate content. For example, there's a game called Roblox. And Roblox is incredibly harmful to children because it has been demonstrated to put children in touch with child sexual abusers, right? And the job is of the parents to make sure the kids don't play Roblox. So if there is a significant connection, then you have to say that Roblox is a platform that is within the law, either ignoring or aiding and abetting in some way, furthering this problem. Now, let's go back to the Constitution. I think whenever we're talking about any kind of speech, we should go back to the touchstone of what regulates it. So we have Article 19(1)(a), and Article 19(1)(a) is, and let's be clear that the Chief Justice also said that he doesn't want to have too much of a chilling effect on the speech. So it is also upmost in his mind, it appears. So 19(1)(a) says that everything is free speech unless there is a law that regulates it. And there are various judgments, including the 7-judge bench in Mirajkar, that say that a law is not a decision of the court. A law is a law. It's a statute of parliament. And if that law limits it, that law can limit it on the basis that it is a number of different things, including on the basis of morality, but that we can set aside because that's constitutional morality, or decency, right? Now, so therefore, I think that when there is, if there is, say, defamation, because here we had someone talking, insultingly about a child and their parents, etc., then there is a law against defaming speech, defamatory speech, right? In fact, there's criminal and civil law. So there are ways to, I think, deal with these things rather than going
There are ways to deal with it.
Publication.
There are ways to deal with it. Let me bring in Mr. Mahurkar because we have limited time. Mr. Mahurkar, I want you to come in on this. The solution is in effective parenting rather than shutting out or, completely blocking and censoring certain kinds of content. That's the view that's being expressed here by Karuna Nandi. And of course, the fact is that the Chief Justice of India, as has been observed by some of the other speakers, did say that when it comes to impinging on free speech, if there are concerns, we will look at that as well. But is the solution really in regulating content that exists or keeping that content away as parents from children? Mr. Mahurkar.
I'll cite one figure which has come in media today based on a survey. Krishna district of Andhra Pradesh, in 2020, it saw 220 rape cases, and majority of them were by minors and on seeing pornography. Just one district of this country, and that's true in 2020. After that, this menace has increased manifold. So I very strongly believe that you need a regulation. The tape from where this dirt is coming has to be closed. And I'll cite two letters which I have written to the government of India in the last 15 days. One is, citing such laws, age verification based laws in 16 Western countries and 24 states of America. Where, and in Australia they have banned social media for children below 16. So the situation is very horrendous. We have got studies, we have got strong evidence to prove that situation is very bad in slums particularly. Rapes are being driven by pornography. And I think this is India's biggest challenge. I welcome Justice Surya and Justice Bagchi's observations today. I think how it should be done can be a matter of debate, but it has to be done. If a nation is to be saved, if India is to be made a great nation as we have.
Okay, multiple hands going up. We have limited time. Just request quick comments from everyone. Karuna Nandi, he welcomes it. He says that pornography leads to certain kinds of committing of acts, particularly by minors, who in certain jurisdictions globally have been prevented from accessing social media, at least until the age of 16. Your response?
You know, saving the country from rape is something that I am extremely interested in and known for being interested in and having worked on it for 25 years. Let us be clear that the connection between speech and action is not established. I am with the speaker before me on the fact that it needs to be looked into. So we need to look into speech in general, pornography in general, but also pornography, for example, to what extent does child pornography lead to child abuse? You know, child pornography, everyone knows, everyone agrees, I think, that it should be banned, right? But to what extent does it lead to child abuse? What extent does normal pornography or whatever, adult pornography, lead to adult abuse? Is it restricted to adult pornography, which is to do with, say, rape fantasies? Is it other kind of pornography? I haven't seen the kind of data that this gentleman seems to be, he's not relying on any data. Okay. And that's the problem.
Okay,
so
unfortunately,
do we need such data?
Unfortunately, we have very limited time. Mr. Mahurkar, of course, has been speaking on this issue for quite some time, but I'm completely out of time on the show. Perhaps we need a much longer debate, a much longer discussion on this. Uday Mahurkar, Avishkar Singhvi, Karuna Nandi, Namit Saxena, we'll have to leave it here for the moment. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us this evening.